Hello people, how are you? I hope you all are doing super amazing. People, this video is for all my CMA final students who are going to get the attempt in December 25. People, my name is CS Balgopal Sridharan and I'm going to teach you corporate and economic laws. So people, before we begin with our first lecture, let me tell you a few things about how the lecture is going to be conducted. We're going to understand the syllabus of corporate and economic laws, and then we are going to begin without wasting any time with our first lecture. Okay people, chalo. So people, I want you guys to remember 5 things. Okay, number 1 is people, the language of all the lectures are going to be completely in English language, number 1. Number 2, we are going to understand and cover every single topic thoroughly using logic, and most importantly people, we are going to understand using examples. Okay people. Number 3, once we cover every single topic, every single concept using examples, using logic, we're going to again revise all those concepts using mind maps people. Okay, I will tell you what is the meaning of mind maps. Number 4 people, during this lecture, while you are watching this lecture, if you have got any doubt people, any doubt, simply pause the lecture on YouTube people and drop all your doubts in the comment section. Okay, I will try my level best to resolve all your doubts as soon as I watch your comments. Right people? And number 5 is people, this is the USP. I'm going to teach you how to remember sections for corporate and economic laws in such a beautiful way that even after 5 years, you will never forget those sections at all. Now, how is that possible? We'll understand in the coming lectures people. Right people? So 5 things people I want to remember. Number 1 is language is going to be completely English language. We're going to cover every single topic, every single concept using logic, and most importantly using examples. Number 3, once we cover every single topic and concept, we're going to revise all those concepts using mind maps. Okay people. Number 4, if you have got any doubt people, simply pause this video, drop all your doubts in the YouTube comment section. Right people? And number 5, we're going to understand how to remember sections in a magician manner that even after 5 years, you will never forget those sections at all. Okay people, chalo. Now, first thing is over. Second thing, we're going to understand the syllabus. So people, you have got 11 long chapters to study. No problem people, we are going to understand every single chapter in such a beautiful way that you are going to love these lectures. This is my promise. Right people? Chalo. People, Companies Act 2013, the chapter carries 40% weightage. Okay, 40% weightage. Number 2 is people, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code carries 10% weightage. It carries 10% weightage. Okay. Number 3 is people, Corporate Governance and Social Responsibility and Sustainability. It carries 10% weightage. Okay, no problem. Then comes people, section B. Then comes section B that talks about economic laws. Over here people, SEBI regulations, one of the most beautiful, most interesting, at the same time students find it very, very difficult to understand. This chapter, it carries 10% weightage, 10% weightage. Competition Act, again a beautiful chapter people, it carries 5% weightage. Then comes Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. In this people, we're going to understand why Tesla cars were not in India till now. We're going to understand. This carries 5% weightage people, and next 2 chapters are optional. Banking sector laws and insurance sector laws, combined both will come for 5%. Okay, 5%. Next people, MSME sector laws, 5%. Cyber security and data privacy, again it will come for 5% people. And last is people, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, again it will come for 5%. Okay, there are 1 2 3 4 5 6 small chapters, 3 medium long chapter, and next is people 40% is Companies Act people. So now which chapter are we going to study first people? The first chapter that we are going to study is people, SEBI regulations. SEBI regulations. Why people? Because students find this chapter often confusing, often very, very difficult. They don't understand the laws. So simply what they do is they simply mug up the laws. I don't want any single student of mine to mug up the laws. We're going to understand these provisions beautifully. We're going to understand the logic behind why those provisions has been made. Okay, why this provision has been made, we are going to understand using logic, and then people simply are going to revise all those concepts using mind maps. I will show you what is the meaning of mind map. So people, this is what we call as mind map. Now people, the important question is again, why mind maps, people? The reason is, people, before your exams, you cannot afford to waste all your time to read those lengthy text in your module. It's going to eat away a lot of your time, plus will not even able to remember what you have studied. But using mind maps, people, simply your efficiency will increase by 10 times. Quickly you are able to read, understand and learn the provisions in the most beautiful manner. This is the power of mind maps, people. Okay, so people, I have made all your mind maps over here. You will find all those mind maps and my notes in the description link below. Okay people, so now what we are going to do, people, we're going to study. Number one is SEBI regulations. So we're going to study chapter 4 contains SEBI regulations. Over here, you will have 3 sub-chapters. Number one is how to raise finance from the capital markets. Number 2, you will study insider trading regulations. And number 3, people, you will study takeover code. Okay, people. So first chapter that we're going to study is, people, raising finance from capital market. What is the meaning of this, sir? People, if a company wants to go for an IPO, and I will tell you also the meaning of IPO, what all things the company has to comply with, we're going to study every single thing in detail. Right, people? Chalo. So, first things first, let me show you the index. Okay, we're going to understand first the meaning of IPO, people, the meaning of IPO. Once we are done with that, then we'll understand who are the key players in an IPO. NSE, BSE, NSDL, CDSL. We're going to understand every single thing. Number 2. Number 3 is, people, if a company wants to go for an IPO, what all things it has to comply with to get itself listed on stock exchange. If, people, any random company gets itself listed on stock exchange, do you think the money of the investors will be safe, people? Obviously no. So SEBI has got very strict regulations as to how a company can get itself listed. Right, people? Number 3, we're going to understand the eligibility of the company that is issuing shares to the public for the first time. Very easy. Number 4, we're going to understand, people, intermediaries involved. Intermediaries means what, people? It's like agencies, the ones between the company and the ones between the stock exchange. Who are the players, who are the people who help the companies to get listed on stock exchange? Who are the players who help the company to get itself listed on stock exchange? They are called as, people, intermediaries. Okay, right, people? So we're going to understand who are the intermediaries involved and what exactly do they do, how they help the companies to get itself listed on stock exchange. We're going to understand. Okay, number 4. Number 5 is, people, appointment of intermediaries. Who will appoint these intermediaries that is going to help the company to get itself listed on stock exchange? We'll understand, people. And next is, people, promoters contribution. People, if the company is raising finance from the public, don't you think the promoters funds should also be included? Right, people? The promoters funds himself is not included. How do you think the investors' money will be utilized properly? Right? So we're going to understand what are the provisions that talks about how much should the promoters contribute in the company. And then, people, conditions for an IPO. And last is, how will the shares be priced when a company goes for IPO? How will the shares be priced when a company goes for an IPO? And next is, people, we are also going to understand how will the shares be allocated in an IPO? How will the shares be allocated in an IPO? For example, people, let's say LIC is going for an IPO. LIC is going for an IPO. There are a lot of investors who want to invest in LIC. That includes common people like you and me. That includes big players like Mukesh Ambani, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates. Plus, there are one more players called as people institutional investors. Institutional investors. These are like banks, finance companies, portfolio financial institutions, insurance companies. These are called as institutional investors. We're going to understand how the shares will be allocated in an IPO among these three people. Right, people? Trust me, people, this is one of the most beautiful chapter, people. You are going to love it. Okay? Chalo, now. Before we begin with understanding the rules and regulations, first, what we are going to do is we're going to understand the meaning of IPO. What is the meaning of IPO? Okay, people, we all know the full form of IPO. IPO's full form is Initial Public Offer. Initial Public Offer. Now, what is the meaning of Initial Public Offer, people? Initial Public Offer means, people, issuing or offering shares to the public for the first time on stock exchange. What is the meaning of IPO? IPO means Initial Public Offer. Offering shares to the public for the first time on stock exchange. Offering shares to the public for the first time on stock exchange, people. Right, people, let's revise again. What is the meaning of IPO? IPO means Initial Public Offer. Now, what is the meaning of Initial Public Offer? Initial Public Offer means offering shares to the public for the first time on stock exchange. When the company, which was earlier a private company, now it wants to raise huge amount of capital. Now it wants to expand. Now it wants to diversify. It wants to open new stores. Lenskart wants to open 10,000 new stores. Lenskart wants to invest into AI. Lenskart wants to diversify its business. Now, where will they get this money? They don't have that much money. Earlier, they were a private company. Now, Lenskart chooses to go public. Which means what? Now, public will invest into Lenskart. In return, we will give to the public shares. We'll give to the public shares. This is called as, people, Initial Public Offer. Okay. Initial Public Offer. We are done with this. Now, people, before we begin to the key players involved in the IPO process, first let's understand what is the meaning of offer for sale. What is the meaning of offer for sale? People, just now I have told you yes, offer for sale. Now, people, if the company wants to go for an IPO, IPO means what, people? Offering shares to the public for the first time on stock exchange. Company, if it wants to go for an IPO, it has got two simple options. Number one is issuing new shares to the public for the first time. Issuing new shares to the public for the first time, or offering the existing shares to the public. Offering the existing shares to the public. That is called as, people, offer for sale. We're going to understand this using an example. IPO means what? Offering shares to the public for the first time on stock exchange. Now, company has got two ways to go for an IPO. Number one, either you issue new shares to the public, or what you do is you just simply give the existing shares to the public. You simply give the existing shares to the public. Right, people? Now we're going to understand the meaning of offer for sale. Now, people, let's assume Reliance has got 3 shareholders. How many? Reliance has got 3 shareholders. Number one is Mukesh Ambani. He is holding how many shares? 500 shares. Number 2 is, people, Anant Ambani. How many shares is he holding? 500 shares. And next, third shareholders, people, Bill Gates. Now, how many shares Bill Gates is holding, people? Bill Gates is holding 200 shares. So, Reliance has got 3 shareholders. Number 1 is Mukesh Ambani. He is holding 500 shares. Number 2 is Anant Ambani, who is holding 500 shares. Number 3 is people, Bill Gates, who is holding 200 shares. Who is holding 200 shares? Let's assume for a second that this company is a private company. Let's assume for a second this company is a private company. Now Bill Gates wants to exit this company. Bill Gates want to exit this company. Now how will this exit be possible? Exit will only be possible if Bill Gates sells his 200 shares. Bill Gates sells his 200 shares. Then only Bill Gates will get an exit. Right, people? So Bill Gates wants exit. Bill Gates wants exit. Okay. Now Mukesh Ambani, he has got a dream. He has got a dream that I also want my company to be listed on stock exchange. I also want my company to get listed on stock exchange. I also want to increase the size of the company. I also want to open new stores. I also want to diversify my business. I also want to get into AI. I want to get into a lot of things. Now Mukesh Ambani also wants that my shares, my company shares should be held by the public. My company shares should be held by the public. So Mukesh Ambani wants his shares to be held by the public. Bill Gates wants to sell his shares. Bill Gates wants to sell his shares. Now, Mukesh Ambani and Bill Gates, what they decide is, Bill Gates, why don't you sell your shares to the public? Why don't you sell your shares to the public? If Bill Gates sells his 200 shares to the public, don't you think he will earn money by selling those shares? Number one. Number two, don't you think Mukesh Ambani's dream of making sure that shares are held with the public will also be fulfilled? And number 3 is people, public will also get the shares of Reliance. Public will also get the shares of Reliance. So people, again I will revise. Number 1, Bill Gates wants to get an exit. Bill Gates wants to sell his shares. Mukesh Ambani wants his shares to be listed on stock exchange. Mukesh Ambani wants his shares to be held by the public. Public also wants Reliance shares. Now, is there a need to create new shares, people? Is there a need to create new shares? No. There is no need to create new shares. Simply Bill Gates can sell his shares to the public. He can get the money. He can get the exit. Mukesh Ambani's dream of making sure the company is listed on stock exchange, his dream will be fulfilled. Public is also happy. Mukesh Ambani is also happy. Bill Gates is also happy. Without creating new shares, shares are listed on stock exchange. Shares are listed on stock exchange, people. So this is the meaning of offer for sale. This is the meaning of offer for sale. So people, now Bill Gates will be called as selling shareholder. Bill Gates will be called as selling shareholder. I will tell you when will this selling shareholder concept come into the picture. Till now, people, just understand, in offer for sale, the existing shareholder, if he is selling his shares to the public, it is called as offer for sale, and that person is called as selling shareholder. Very simple, people. Chalo. Now, let's come to the second topic. So, IPO meaning, we are done, people. IPO meaning is done. Number 2, we are also done with the offer for sale. We are also done with the offer for sale. Now, people, let's understand who are the important players involved in the IPO process. Who are the important players involved in the IPO process? Number 1 is, people, let's assume for a second that Lenskart wants to open 10,000 new stores. Lenskart wants to open 10,000 new stores. For that, it is raising capital. For that, it is raising capital from the public. So, number 1 player is, people, issuer. That is Lenskart. That is called as Lenskart. Number 2 is, people, depositories. Depositories. Now, people, what is the meaning of depositories? Will you understand? Number 3 is, people, markets, NSE and BSE. And number 4 is, people, demat account. Demat account. Chalo. Now, people, we understand, we know the meaning of issuer, company. Now, people, company wants that their shares to be held by the public. Company wants that their shares should be held by the public. Now, how is it possible, people? How is it possible? So, over here comes depositories. Over here comes depositories. Now, people, depositories act like a bank. Depositories act like a bank. Bank contains digital lockers. Yes or no? Banks contains digital lockers, and these digital lockers are called as demat account. These digital lockers are called as demat account. In these digital lockers, bank saves shares certificate. Bank stores shares certificate in the digital locker. These digital locker is called as demat account. Bank is called as depositories. People, it is not a typical bank. I'm just giving an example as to what is the relationship between a company, depository, demat account, NSE and BSE. Right, people? Now, bank contains digital lockers. Digital lockers contains share certificate. Now, people, if an investor wants to purchase, the investor wants to sell their shares, how will they go and where will they go? Investors will gradually reach their banks. Inside the banks, they will reach their digital lockers. In their digital lockers, they will take the share certificate. Right, people? Now, where will they buy or sell these share certificate? They will go to the markets. They will go to the markets. Market is that place where you will find a lot of buyers and sellers. Market is that place where you will find a lot of buyers and sellers. So these are the four players involved. Number one is, people, issuer. Number two is depositories. Now there are, people, there are two depositories, NSDL and CDSL. NSDL means what, people? NSDL stands for National Securities Depositories Limited, and CDSL stand for, people, Central Depository Services Limited. Very simple, people. So there are four players involved in the IPO process. Key players involved. Number one is, people, issuer, lens card. Number two is, people, depositories. Now, how many types of depositories are there? Number one is NSDL and number two is CDSL. Number three is, people, NSE and BSE. NSE and BSE, you all know, people, National Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange. These are the markets. This is a place where you will find a lot of buyers and sellers. You will find a lot of buyers and sellers. And number four is, people, demat account. Okay, very simple. So we are done with the second topic also, that is key players involved in the IPO process. We are done with the key players involved in the IPO process. So, people, let's quickly revise whatever we have studied till now. Number one is, what is the meaning of IPO? IPO means offering shares to the public for the first time on stock exchange. Now, there are two ways in which shares can be offered to the public. Number one is, either you issue new shares or you sell the existing shares. When you sell the existing shares, it is called as offer for sale. The person who is selling the existing shares is called as selling shareholder. Now, otherwise, people, company creates new shares, company issues new shares to the public. And next is, people, key players involved in the IPO process. Number one is issuer, that is a company. Number two is depository, that is CDSL and NSDL. Number three is, people, NSE and BSE, these are the markets. And number four is, people, demat account, that is they act like a digital locker. Very simple. Chalo. Now we are done with the IPO meaning. We are done with the key players in an IPO. Now, people, now let's understand third topic, that is eligibility of an issuer. Eligibility of an issuer. Okay. So, people, there are two sets of conditions. There are two sets of conditions for a company to go for an IPO. There are how many sets of conditions? There are two sets of conditions for a company to go for an IPO. Number one is, first of all, company should comply with the basic conditions. Company should comply with the basic condition to even think about an IPO. Company should comply with the basic conditions to even think about an IPO. Once the company has complied with the basic condition of an IPO, then comes the next circle. These are the difficult conditions that the company has to comply with. Only then it can go for an IPO. So, people, number one is, first of all, a company to even think about an IPO, there are a set of rules. Okay. Once a company thinks about an IPO, once it has complied with the rules and regulation, then comes another set of condition. That is the eligibility of the company to go for an IPO. The eligibility of a company to go for an IPO. Very simple, people. Now, people, let's understand the first set of conditions. Let's understand the first set of conditions. When can a company even think about an IPO? When can a company even think about an IPO? Very simple, people. How many conditions are there? Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10. 10 conditions. Very simple condition, people. In exam, people, questions can be asked. Tell the eligibility conditions for an IPO. Easy. Okay, people. So now, let's come to our notes. So, people, first condition is no debarment by SEBI. No debarment by SEBI. What is the meaning of this? Let's understand. The issuer, its promoters, promoters are the one who have started the company. Promoters are the one who have started the company. Promoters, directors, companies, directors, shareholders should not be barred by SEBI. Should not be barred by SEBI or have been involved with companies barred by SEBI from accessing the capital market. Which means what, people? The promoter, director, selling shareholder, company should not be debarred by SEBI. What is the meaning of debarred by SEBI? SEBI should not have punished them, but SEBI should not have prohibited them from accessing the capital markets. Which means what, people? If the company has done some fraud, if the company has done some kind of fraud, SEBI will give a strict punishment that you cannot access the capital markets. You cannot access the stock markets. Right, people? The SEBI has given some strict conditions to the company, promoter, director, shareholder, or the company has been involved with those companies which have been prohibited by SEBI from accessing the capital markets. They cannot go for an IPO. Which means what, people? Let's take an example. Kingfisher Airlines. Kingfisher Airlines cannot go for an IPO. We all know Kingfisher Airlines did some fraud. Vijay Mallya did some fraud. Obviously, they cannot go for an IPO. Number 1. Number 2, if Reliance engages with any types of transaction with Kingfisher Airlines, even Reliance cannot go for an IPO. Even Reliance cannot go for an IPO. So first condition is very simple. Promoter, director, selling shareholder, company should not be debarred by SEBI, should not be stopped by SEBI from accessing the capital markets, plus that company should not even be involved with those companies which have been debarred by SEBI from accessing the capital markets. First condition is very, very simple, people. Very, very simple. Promoter, company, director, shareholder should not be debarred from accessing the capital markets. At the same time, they should not even be involved with those companies from accessing the capital markets. Number 1 is very simple. Number 2 is, people, stock exchange approval. Stock exchange approval. So, people, let's read this. The issuer must apply to at least one stock exchange for in principle approval. So there are how many stock exchange, people? NSE and BSE. If Lenskart wants to get itself listed on stock exchange, Lenskart should actually appoint one stock exchange like NSE as the in principle approval. Now, what is the meaning of in principle approval, people? If Lenskart has appointed NSE as the designated stock exchange, that means what, people? Now NSE is supposed to check all the conditions. NSE is supposed to check all the conditions for Lenskart to go for an IPO. Now NSE is responsible that Lenskart complies with all the conditions. BSE will not check. NSE will check that all the conditions have been complied with. Now what are the conditions? That is what we are studying, people. In principle approval to list its shares. It must choose one as the designated stock exchange. NSE and BSE there. Lenskart is choosing NSE as the designated stock exchange. Which means what, people? I am only required to report to NSE. For an IPO, the listing should be on the recognized stock exchange with nationwide trading terminals. Which means what, people? there are only two stock exchange that has got nationwide trading terminals, which means what, people? Investors trade on these two markets all across India. That is called as nationwide terminus. So second condition is that Lenskart has to appoint one stock exchange for in principle approval and appoint one as the designated stock exchange. Designated stock exchange. Very simple, people. Number two. Number three is, people, agreement with the depository. If the company, so people, I will tell you one thing. 20 years, 30 years down the line, if the company wants to get itself registered on stock exchange, it issues physical share certificates. It issues physical share certificates. Now, people, physical time is over. Now it is completely digital era. Now it is completely digital era. The once you buy the shares, your demat account will be credited. Now, who is responsible for making sure all the shares are held in demat account, all the shares are held in electronic format? Depository. So depository will ensure that whatever shares are issued by Lenskart, it is held completely in electronic format. For that, people, you require the approval of depository, yes or no? Yes. So number three is, the issuer must have an agreement with the depository for dematerialization, that is converting physical shares into electronic format. So three conditions, very simple. Number four is, people, no partly paid up shares, which means what, people? When the company is going for an IPO, it must ensure that all the shares that the company has held or the company is issuing, it is completely fully paid up or forfeited before making a public issue. Which means what, people? If the company shareholder themselves are not committed to the company, they have just paid partly paid up shares, how can the company even go for listing? Right, people? How can the company gain the trust of the investors if the company's inside shareholders are not only trusting the company? Right, people? So company has to ensure that whatever shares it has held till now, it is fully paid up and not partly paid up. If there is any partly paid up shares, all the shares should be completely forfeited, completely cancelled. Then only the company can go for an IPO. Very simple. Chalo. Now, people, this point is little difficult. We'll come to this in the last. Okay. Next, promoters' share should be held in demat form. Obviously, people, if the company is issuing shares in demat form, the ones who have started the company, if they are only holding shares in physical format, does it make sense, people? No. So promoter share should also be held in demat form. Very simple. This one also, people, will come in the last. Next is, people, willful defaulter. Let's read this. The issuer cannot make a public issue if the company, its promoters, directors are classified as willful defaulter. Now, what is the meaning of willful defaulter? Willful defaulter means defaulting on loans intentionally, like Kingfisher Airlines. Vijay Mallya defaulted on loans purposefully. That is called as willful defaulter. That means what, people? The promoter, director, the company should not be a willful defaulter. If there is any willful default, the company cannot go for an IPO. Very simple. Next is, people, again very easy, IPO issue period, which means what, people? If I am issuing shares to the public, what period, what timeline should I give to the investors during which they can buy my company shares? The rule says the public issue must remain open for at least 3 days and not more than 10 days. If Lenskart is going for an IPO, if it decides that I want to keep issue period open from 29th September to 4th October, it is allowed. Okay. After 4th October or before 29th September, nobody can buy the shares of Lenskart. And next is, people, minimum subscription of 90%. What is the meaning of this? If Lenskart is going for an IPO where the IPO size is, people, 100 crores, the IPO size is 100 crores, it should ensure that 90 crores worth of shares have been purchased, have been subscribed by the public. If 90% shares have not been subscribed by the public, which means what? Your company does not have a good future. Your company does not have that trust with the public. Hence, that company is not eligible to go for an IPO. Minimum 90% shares should be subscribed by the public. 90% shares should be subscribed by the public. This one also very easy. Now let's come to the two of the important points. Okay. Now let's come to the simple important. Limit on general corporate purpose. Let's read this, people. The amount allocated for general corporate purposes cannot exceed 25% of funds raised through an IPO. Let's assume that Lenskart has raised 100 crores in an IPO. Lenskart has raised 100 crores in an IPO. Now it should ensure that not more than 25 CR is spent in general corporate expenses. General corporate expenses. General corporate expenses. Like conducting board meeting, like usual working expenses, it should not spend more than 25 CR. People, why does a company goes for an IPO? Why does a company goes for an IPO? Companies goes for an IPO to increase their base, to diversify, right, people? To just become larger in size. They want to become double, they want to become triple, they want to invest in a lot of things, they want to start a new business, they want to enter into new venture, they want to collaborate, they want to acquire this company. For that purpose, to expand its operations, company go for an IPO. If the company, which to the aim of expanding, if it has taken 100 crores from the public and people 30 crores, 40 crores, 50 crores are simply spent in general corporate expenses, do you think the objective of the IPO is being achieved, people? No. The objective of the IPO has not been achieved if the company is simply using most of the funds in general corporate purposes, for which company has not raised money at all. Company has raised money for expanding its business. Right? If the company is not expanding its business, company is simply spending the money raised from the public in general corporate purposes, do you think the objective behind the IPO is satisfied, people? No. Objective behind the IPO is not satisfied. So that is why this rule has been made. Maximum you spend in general corporate purpose, no problem. But maximum 25 CR only you can spend in general corporate purposes, not more than that. Okay. Now next comes, people, firm arrangement of 75% of fund. This is the most beautiful rule. You will love it, people. Let's read this. The company must make firm arrangements. Firm means strong arrangements, strong backup for at least 75% of the project finance. Now what is the meaning of project finance? Let's understand. Let's say, people, Lenskart wants to open 10,000 new stores. Lenskart wants to open 10,000 new stores. For that, Lenskart requires, let's assume, let's put a number like 125 crores. 125 crores. This is a small number, people. Let's assume for a second that Lenskart wants to raise 125 crores. So, people, this is called as project finance. This is called as project finance. Project finance. It wants to invest into AI, it wants to expand, it wants to open new stores, it wants to open new businesses. Now, among these 125 CR, people, let's put this aside. Now, people, among those 125 CR, company is planning, company has got already 10 CR in its bank account. Company has got already 10 CR in its bank account. Remaining 15 CR, company wants to raise from the public. Company wants to raise from the public for an IPO. Company wants to go raise from the public. Remaining 100 CR remaining 100 CR, company is going to take a loan. Company is going to take a loan of 100 CR. Okay. So lens card requires how many crores people? Lens card requires 125 CR. Now, why does lens card requires 125 CR? Lens card wants to invest into AI. Lens card wants to open 10,000 new stores. Lens card wants to start a new business venture. For that, it requires 125 CR. Right, people? So now, among those 125 CR, already 10 CR is there in its bank account. 10 CR is already there in its bank account. Number 2 is 15 CR. Lens card is planning to raise from the public 15 CR. Remaining 100 CR, lens card is going to take a loan. Lens card is going to take a loan. So what this rule says is that, 75% of project finance, 75% of project finance, excluding bank, that is called as internal accruals. That is called as internal accruals. Company has already got 10 CR in its bank account. That is called as internal accruals. Already how much money the company has got is called as internal accruals. Number 2 is people, company is raising money from the public. So what this rule says is that company should have firm backup of 75% of project finance, excluding internal accruals, excluding IPO proceeds. Which means what, people? Apart from this, wherever the company is going to raise finance, it should have 75% of firm backup, like guarantee that 75% of this 100 CR will be guaranteed. Now, people, why this rule has been made? Can anyone tell me? The rule has been made because to ensure that the company is not entirely dependent on the IPO. Company should not be entirely dependent on IPO. Company first should have internal accruals. Company should have a firm backup of the project finance, excluding the bank account, excluding the IPO proceeds. Remaining money, whatever I am going to raise using different channels, I should have a firm 75% backup of these funds. I should be having a surety that 75% of these funds I will get 100%. Right, people? So company should not be entirely dependent on an IPO to expand itself. That is the reason why this rule has been made. But that is the reason why, people, this rule has been made. People, then tomorrow, if I am a genuine company, if I comply with all the 9 conditions and I've got no money in my bank account, simply if I go for an IPO, people, do you think it is right to raise money from the public when I don't know how to utilize that money properly? No, it's going to be a blunder's decision. That is the reason why, people, this rule has been made. That is the reason why this rule has been made. Now, people, let's read this rule. Let's read this rule. The rule says the company must make firm arrangements for at least 75% of project finance, excluding IPO proceeds, excluding internal accruals. Why? This ensures the company is not solely reliant on IPO for funding. IPO for funding. So, people, these are the 10 conditions that company has to comply to even think about an IPO. Now, what are the 10 conditions? Let's quickly revise using the mind maps. Okay. So, people, 3 are very, very easy. 3 are very, very easy. Now, very, very easy, I have marked in blue. Very, very easy, I have marked in blue. Now, what are those easy points, people? The first thing that should come to your mind before a company goes for an IPO, that should know partly paid up shares. If there are any partly paid up shares, either you convert into fully paid up or you simply cancel those shares. Number 1 is very easy. Number 2 is, people, obviously, if the company is going for an IPO, it has to appoint one stock exchange as the designated stock exchange. That is done. And number 3 is, people, very easy. IPO issue period should be between 3 to 10 days. IPO issue period should be between 3 to 10 days. These 3 points are very, very simple, people. Number 1 is no partly paid up shares. Number 2 is stock exchange approval. Number 3 is IPO issue period should be between 3 to 10 days. Okay. Now, with respect to default, there are 2 points. With respect to default, there are 2 points. Number 1 is note company, promoter, director or selling scheduler should not be debarred by SEBI, should not be debarred by SEBI. At the same time, they should also not be involved with those companies which have been debarred by SEBI, which should not have been debarred by SEBI. Next people, the company promoter director should not be a willful defaulter. Should not be a willful defaulter. Willful defaulter means what, people? You are intentionally defaulting the loans. So 3 very easy is done. 2 with respect to default is done. Now 2 is with respect to demat. Is with demat. Now people, if the company wants to issue shares in demat form, obviously it has to enter into an agreement with the depository. It has to enter into agreement with the depository, number 1. Number 2, people, obviously promoters shares should be held in demat form. Promoters shares should be held in demat form. Very simple. And next is, people, 3 are difficult. 3 are difficult. So let's understand the simple difficult. Is, people, minimum subscription should be 90%. If the company is going for an IPO, minimum 90% shares should be subscribed by the public. Otherwise, the company has to refund all the money it has received from the public. Company should receive at least 90% subscription from the IPO. If the company fails to receive 90% of subscription from the IPO, it has to refund all the money to the investors. Next is, people, limit on general corporate purpose. We know it should not exceed 25%. It should not exceed 25%. And next, people, firm arrangement of 75% of project finance, excluding internal accruals, excluding IPO proceeds. That's, people, we are done with the next topic. So people, I hope you're finding these topics super interesting, people. The moment you come across any doubt, people, please do not hesitate. Please make sure to pause this video immediately and make sure to drop all your doubts in the YouTube comment section. YouTube comment section. Right, people? Chalo. So now we are done with the IPO meaning. We are done with the IPO meaning. Number 2, we are done with the key players in an IPO. We are also done with the eligibility of issuer. Now, people, let's understand the last topic of today's lecture. I will try to keep the first lecture short, people, so that, first lecture should be little easy to understand, little short, sweet experience. Okay, people? Chalo. Now, let's understand intermediaries. We'll understand intermediaries. Okay. So there are 4 intermediaries. Number 1 is banks, merchant banks, registered to issue, and there are 2 more. We'll understand this right now. Okay. So see, people, look at this. Before we come over here, let's understand this using the notes. Yes, people. So there are how many types of intermediaries? Number 1 is merchant banker. But people, before you understand intermediaries are those who help the company to get their shares listed on stock exchange. Who help the company, who work with the company to make sure their shares are listed on stock exchange. Okay, people? Okay. Number 1 is merchant banker. Number 2 is registrar. Number 3 is underwriters. Number 4 is bankers to the issue. Number 5 is syndicate members. Number 5 is syndicate members. Okay. Now, people, what is the meaning of merchant banker? What is the meaning of merchant banker? People, this person is one of the most important person to help the company to go for an IPO. To help the company to go for an IPO. People, IPO is a very long procedure. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of documentation and all legal compliance. But people, do you think Lenskart has got that much amount of time to make sure that every single thing is complied with? No. That is the job of the merchant banker. Lenskart will simply outsource the work of getting their shares listed on stock exchange to the merchant banker. Now, merchant banker will make sure that every single thing has been complied with, every single thing has been taken care of. So basically people, merchant banker are like the main guide of the IPO. Merchant banker are like the main guide of the IPO. They make sure that all the legal compliances, all the documentation has been properly taken care of. Number one. Number two, they make sure that IPO reaches the investors. They make sure the IPO reaches the investors. It is their job to make sure that the investors are aware of the IPO. It is their job to make sure investors are aware of the IPO. So people, this is a brief description about merchant banker. Let's understand the meaning of merchant banker. Merchant banker is the main guide of the IPO process. The company, the moment they decide that they want to get itself listed on stock exchange, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to appoint a merchant banker. Now why merchant banker? Because they manage the entire IPO, from preparing legal and financial documents to helping the company even decide the price of the shares. Which means what? Let's say कि I am appointing JP Morgan merchant banker. I am Lenskart. I am appointing JP Morgan as my merchant banker. Now JP Morgan is now supposed to take care of all my legal, financial, documentation work. Number one, JP Morgan is responsible that my shares are being reaching to the investors. They make sure that IPO is being reached to the investors. Number two, they fix the price of shares. JP Morgan help Lenskart in fixing the price of shares, people. Number two, to promote the IPO so that investors know about it. Obviously awareness. They coordinate with all the intermediaries to make sure IPO runs smoothly. So people, intermediaries are the main guide who take care of the legal documentation work. They make sure that IPO reaches the investors. They make sure that they are setting the share price for the investors. Every single thing will be taken care by merchant banker. Now people, merchant banker cannot again do all these things alone. They also require intermediaries. Now who coordinates with the intermediaries? Like registrar, underwriters, bankers to the issue, syndicate members. Okay, we'll understand every single thing in detail. Now it is the job of the merchant banker to make sure that they are very nicely, very properly coordinating with all the intermediaries. Very simple, people. So merchant banker is done. Number two is people, registrar. Now what is the role of registrar, people? Registrar job is to ensure that right amount of shares has been credited to the investors. Right amount of shares has been credited to the investors. This is the job of the registrar. He is basically the administrator. He is basically the administrator of all the shares. He ensures that right amount of shares has been given to the investors. Let's read this, people. He is the administrative manager of the IPO. They handle all the applications from the investors, ensure that each investor gets the correct amount of shares. They maintain record of who has applied for shares, who have actually got the shares. If an IPO is oversubscribed, it is their job to handle all the refunds and allocation of shares. So who allocates the shares, people? Registrar allocates the shares. They act as the administrator of the shares. They ensure that right amount of shares has been given to the investors. If the shares are oversubscribed, it is their job to refund to the shareholders. Very simple, people. So two players we have understood till now. Number one is merchant banker. Number two is registrar. Okay. Number three is, people, one of my favorite intermediaries. One of my favorite intermediaries. Who is he? He is called as, people, underwriters. He is called as the underwriter. Now people, what is the meaning of underwriter? Underwriter are like the people insurers. Underwriter are like insurers. They ensure that they promise to the company like Lenskart. If Lenskart is issuing 100 shares, if Lenskart is issuing 100 shares in an IPO, if Lenskart is issuing 100 shares in an IPO, it is a job of the underwriter to ensure that all the shares have been subscribed. It is a job of the underwriter to ensure that all the shares have been subscribed. And people, basically, let's say Lenskart is issuing 100 shares. Only 95 shares have been purchased by the public. Remaining 5 shares nobody have purchased. Over there, people, underwriter guarantees the company that, buddy, don't worry. If nobody buys your shares, I will buy your shares. If nobody buys your shares, I will buy the leftover shares. They promise to buy leftover shares. They promise to buy leftover shares, ensuring that all the shares have been subscribed. Now, people, the important question is, why would any person guarantee the purchase of shares? Why would any person guarantee the subscription of all shares? What is he getting in return, people? Underwriters will get commission in return. Underwriters will get commission in return. Now, people, again, your question should be, now that I have received commission, now the shares are with me. Now, what do I do with these shares? I don't want these shares. Now, people, underwriters, what they do is, they purchase the shares gradually, slowly, they will gradually release those shares in the stock market. They will gradually release those shares in the stock market. Right, people? So they ensure that demand for the shares does not falls down. Demand for the shares does not falls down. So let's read this, people. Let's read this. Underwriters provide a guarantee that the company will raise the planned funds. Number one, they agree to buy any shares that remain unsold in the IPO, ensuring the company gets total money it intended to raise. Number three, underwriters also help in determining the right price of the shares. Underwriters also help in deciding the right price. What should be the price of the shares that Lenskart is proposing to get in listed. Next, people, balancing company requirements and investor interest. So, people, investors' demand has also been satisfied. They are also getting the shares, and company's interest has also been fulfilled. Company is able to raise full amount of money only because of underwriter. Only because of underwriter. Now, people, let's come to the next question. Next topic, that is next intermediaries. So sorry, people. The next intermediaries, people, bankers to the issue. Bankers to the issue. Now, people, bankers to the issue handle all the money related transaction. Bankers to the issue handle all the money related transaction. It is the job of the banker to ensure that whatever funds has been raised by the public, by the bank, this bank now transfers all this money raised in an IPO from the public to the company for the purpose that it intended to utilize in the IPO. It is a job of the banker to collect money from the investors. Once it has collected money from the investors, it is their job to make sure that it is transferring the funds to the company for which it is going for an IPO. This is a simple job of a banker. Now let's read this. Bankers to issue manage the flow of money. They collect funds from investors who apply for an IPO and transfer the money to the company after the IPO is complete. They ensure that all transactions are accurate and timely. They ensure that all transactions are accurate and timely. So, people, 4 key intermediaries we have understood. Number 1 is, people, merchant banker. Number 2 is registrar. Number 3 is underwriter. And number 4 is bankers to the issue. Now, people, I'm going to tell you, before you even touch this syndicate member topic, I'm going to explain you a concept of how the shares, how the price of shares are determined. How the price of shares are determined in IPO. People, I hope you are finding this topic interesting. Okay, just let me know in the comment section that how is your experience with these lectures. If you have got any doubt, people, please make sure to drop all your doubts in the comment section. Okay, people, if you are having super huge fun, please let me know in the comment section. Okay, now where were we? Yes. So, people, how the price is fixed during an IPO. How the price is fixed during an IPO. So people, company has got three options. Company has got three options. Number one is either you give a fixed price of shares, either you fix the price of shares. Number one, if you know the value of your shares, you simply fix the value of shares and then invite the investors that I want to sell these shares at 100 rupees. If you want to purchase, pay the money, otherwise you can go. This is called as fixed price mechanism. Number two is people, there's a concept called as book building mechanism. There's a concept called as book building mechanism. Now, what is the meaning of book building mechanism, people? Book building mechanism is a way to discover maximum price, that all the investors are willing to pay. Okay, it is that price based on demand and supply, maximum price that can be paid by all the investors. What is the maximum price at which all my shares will be subscribed? All my shares will be subscribed. What is the maximum? What is the maximum price at which all my shares will be subscribed? Now people, this price mechanism is a discovery of fixing the price using demand and supply forces. We are going to understand this beautiful concept. One of the most beautiful concepts in this chapter is book building mechanism. And number three is people, number three, people, floor price. Floor price means for people, company says that minimum we're going to charge 100 rupees. Above that, if you think that the shares are worth more than 100 rupees, you can give your application submitting bids like 10,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees for share that is valued over 100 rupees. So whoever is willing to pay maximum price, I will give them the shares. It is called as floor price. Now people, floor price and fixed price mechanism is very, very simple. Now what is interesting is that people, this book building mechanism. Now what is a book building mechanism? It is a way of discovering the price of the shares where all my shares are sold at maximum price. All my shares are sold at maximum price is called as book building mechanism. Very simple, people. Now people, I want you to answer this. I know people, it's a recording session, but I want you to scream before the screen whenever I ask you any question. Whenever I ask you any question, I want you to scream before the screen. Okay people, chalo. Now people, a company's goal is to sell maximum 5,000 shares. Company's goal is to sell 5,000 shares at maximum price. Company's goal is to sell all the shares at maximum price. Now what is the meaning of maximum price? I don't know. Supposing if I want to sell you this bottle, I don't know what is the minimum price, what is the maximum price. I am worried that if I sell you this bottle for 500 rupees, you might think it is overvalued, so you will not purchase my bottle. Or if I value my bottle too less, you will still not purchase my bottle. Okay people, which means what? I am worried that if I sell you this bottle for too less value, I will regret not selling you this bottle for more price. At the same time, if I value my bottle's price high, I am scared that you might not pay enough to purchase this bottle. Again, I will tell you people, I am scared, company scared that their share price, if they fix it too low, they will regret later that this share price was worth more and we couldn't raise that much amount of money. Otherwise, next is, if I raise the price too high, I am worried that my investors will not pay enough money to purchase the shares. So I'm getting confused. I don't know the value of my shares. In that case, how do I fix the price? In that case, how do I fix the price? Now comes the important question. I will now invite bids. I will now, people, invite bids. Hello, hello. Yes, I will now invite bids. So people, I tell to the public that minimum price is 100 rupees. I will not agree to sell you at a price lower than 100 rupees. The same time, I also tell you that I will not agree to sell you the shares more than 500 rupees. I know that the value of my shares is between 100 and 500 rupees. I know that value of my shares will not cross, obviously, 500 rupees. The value of my shares is not too low that it's going to come down more than 100 rupees. So I'm confused as to what should be the accurate price of my share. I obviously know the share price is between 100 and 500 rupees. Now the question is, between 100 to 500 rupees, among those 400 numbers, what is my actual share price? Now I'm confused. Now what will I do is, I will ask the public to submit their applications. I will invite bids from the public to give applications. So now people, obviously, these are the public. So A says that I am willing to purchase 2000 shares at 100 rupees. I am willing to purchase 2000 shares at 100 rupees. B says that I am willing to purchase 3000 shares at 150 rupees. C says I am willing to purchase 1000 shares at 500 rupees. The same way, people, D, E, F and G have submitted their bids. Now the important question is, whom I will allocate the shares at what price? The question is, whom will I allocate the shares at what price is my important question. So now people, you tell me how many shares I have to sell you. I have to sell you 5,000 shares. I have to sell you 5,000 shares. But among these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, who is willing to purchase your shares at maximum price? It is C. It is C, who is willing to purchase 1000 shares at 500 rupees. At 500 rupees. Number one. But people, can I sell him all my 5,000 shares, people? No, because he is willing to only purchase 1000 shares. So now the important question is, after C, whom will I sell my shares? After C, who is willing to purchase my shares at maximum price after C? So it is, people, it is F, who is willing to pay 400 rupees for 1000 shares. Now people, C is willing to purchase 1000 shares. F is also willing to purchase 1000 shares. Now remaining, I have 3000 shares to sell. Now people, after F, who is the next person who is willing to pay the maximum price, people? It is E. It is E. So E is willing to purchase 2000 shares at 300 rupees, 400 rupees, 500 rupees. Now people, remaining people, I will not sell them the shares because they are willing to pay a very, very low price. So I will just eliminate them. So now together, okay, one second, 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000. So people, there is one more person whom I can sell the shares, because 5000 shares I want to sell, right? So after E, it is D, who is willing to pay 200 rupees for 1000 shares. 1000 shares at 200 rupees. Now people, again, among these, I know that I can sell my shares to these 4 people, because these 4 people are willing to pay maximum price for my shares. Now the important question is, can I give them, can I sell them shares at differential prices? No. I have to treat every single one of them equally. I have to treat every single one of them equally. So I have to charge one price to all my four investors, Now people, you tell me, what is that one price, among these four people that people will happily pay the money? What is that price of the shares where C, D, E and F will happily pay for the money? People, if I charge 500 rupees, do you think F, E and D will be happy? No, because they are only going to pay 400 rupees. So what I will do is, I will look at the minimum price, because people, minimum price is that price which will be paid by everyone. So what is the minimum price over here? It is 200 rupees. It is 200 rupees. Now people, think for yourself. Don't you think C, who was willing to pay 500 rupees, don't you think he can pay 200 rupees? Yes or no? Yes. F, who is willing to pay 400 rupees, don't you think he will be happily willing to pay 200 rupees? The same way people, the share price will be 200 rupees. So among 100 rupees to 500 rupees, the price will be 200 rupees, and I will sell my 5,000 shares to these four people. This is called as people book building mechanism. If I thought that my share price was 100 rupees, don't you think I would have lost so much amount of potential money? Yes or no? Yes. Because of this beautiful concept of book building mechanism, people, I am able to sell all the shares at maximum price. I am able to sell all my shares at maximum price. Now the important question is, why did I tell you this? Let's come to this. So people, now who fixes the price using book building mechanism? It is the syndicate members who fix the price using book building mechanism. Let's read it. Syndicate members assist in distributing the shares and manage the book building process. If the company is going for a book building process, they will appoint a syndicate member. That body, what you do is, we want to issue the shares using book building mechanism. We want to discover the price using book building mechanism. So please, now you have to help us out. So when the company is going for a book building mechanism, they appoint syndicate members, where demand from investors helps determine share price, demand and supply. On that basis, share price will be determined. They help coordinate between the company, merchant banker and investor to ensure smooth execution of the IPO. So it is the role of the syndicate member to ensure that the IPO process is super smooth without any frictions. Right people? So till now we understood 5 intermediaries. Number 1 is merchant banker, number 2 is registrar, number 3 is underwriter, number 4 is banker to the issue, and number 5 is people syndicate member. Now people, without wasting any time, let's quickly revise all those concepts using mind maps. Okay, so people, what is the job of merchant banker? He acts as a main guide of the IPO process. His job is to prepare legal, financial documents, plus setting the share prices and making sure that IPO reaches the investor. Number 2 is people registrar. Now registrar role is people, he acts as an administrator of shares. He handles all the applications from the investors. He ensures that correct number of shares has been given to the investors. Correct amount of shares has been given to the investors. If the IPO is oversubscribed, it is their job to refund all the money it has received in access. Number 2 is registrar. Number 3 is people underwriters are like insurers. They promise the company to making sure that any leftover shares have been subscribed with, promising them, ensuring that the company is able to raise the full amount in the IPO process. So they are the guarantee providers in an IPO. Number 2 is they promise to buy leftover shares in the IPO that is not sold in the market, and then gradually they will release the shares in the stock market. And number 4 is people, bankers to the issue. What is their job? Their job is to handle all the money transactions. They are responsible for receiving money from the investors. They're also responsible for giving this funds that they have received from the public to the company once IPO is done, people. This is their job. And next people, syndicate member. We know syndicate member are responsible for book building process. Syndicate members are responsible for book building process. Book building process means what, people? Allocating all the shares at maximum price is called as book building mechanism. Is called as book building mechanism. People, just 1 second, will just charge my phone. Okay. And next people, they also assist in distributing the shares and ensuring that everything runs smoothly. Everything runs smoothly. Now people, we are again forgetting one more important person. That is called as compliance officer. Compliance officer job is simple, people. Even you can be appointed as a compliance officer. Now why are we studying the SEBI regulations? Because in SEBI, the company, it fixes a price. Company, if it fixes the price, cost accountant in practice, company secretaries in practice, chartered accountants in practice, it is their job to certify, to give a certification that the company has fixed the price using a very, very fair manner. Okay, number 1 is your job comes over here. Number 2 is your job also comes in certifying that the company has used the amount in the right manner. Now who will give the certification? You will give the certification. In the IPO documents, it is your job to ensure that the company has shown all the cost records, all the cost items in the application form that is required by the investors. So over here people, compliance officer's role comes into the picture. So compliance officer role is to monitor all the securities laws. Now what we are studying is, we are studying SEBI laws. SEBI laws is called as securities law. So your job is to ensure that all the rules have been complied with. Number 2 is you have to address the investor's complaint. Okay, so it is the job of the compliance officer. If an investor has issued shares to the public, if the investors has received shares from the company and the company has not given enough shares that the investor is supposed to get. Okay, people, once again, yes, company is supposed to give 100 shares to the investor, but the investor's demand account is only created with 80 shares. So remain 20 shares the investor has not got. Now it is the job of the compliance officer to ensure that the remaining 20 shares have been credited to the investor. It is job of the compliance officer to ensure that all the investor complaints are addressed properly. That's it, people. So, now. Appointment of intermediaries. Small to people, just 5 minutes it's going to take. Now people, merchant banker. Do you think that if the company is going to raise 10,000 crores, 20,000 crores, 50,000 crores, do you think one merchant banker can manage such a huge IPO size? No. In that case, company may appoint 2 or 3 merchant bankers. Company may appoint 2 or 3 merchant bankers to handle such a big IPO size. But people, once the company has appointed 2 or 3 merchant bankers, it is the job of the company to choose one merchant banker as the lead merchant banker, Now what is the job of a lead merchant banker? It is a job of lead merchant banker to coordinate with all the merchant bankers. It is a job of the lead merchant banker to coordinate with all the merchant bankers. Okay, he is the point of contact while coordinating with all the merchant bankers. Number 3 is his job is to manage the overall the IPO process. He will not micromanage. Okay, job has been given to other merchant bankers, but it is his job to manage the overall IPO process. Very simple, people. Syndicate member, we have studied. Bankers to the issue, also we have studied. Compliance officers done, and registrar to the issue is also done, people. Okay. So people, we are done with the appointment of intermediaries. Now next is, people, we are going to cover 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics. Okay, in the next 2 lectures how to raise finance from the capital markets will be done and dusted, people. Okay, people, if you have got any doubt, people, any doubt, just drop all your doubts in the YouTube comment section. I will be more than happy to resolve all your doubts in the most beautiful manner possible. And remember, people, do not worry about whether I can ask this doubt, whether it is a silly doubt or whether it is a smart doubt. Doesn't matter at all, people. All doubts are given equal importance. Okay, I'm going to give equal importance to every single doubt. You ask silly doubt, doesn't matter at all, but make sure that you are asking the doubt, people. YouTube is there, people, such a convenient manner. You can watch lectures, you can get the notes. Every single thing is super easy. Well, your job is to observe as much as possible, people. If you have got any doubt, simply pause the video and drop your doubts in the comment section. No matter about the language, Hindi, English, Tamil, every single thing is absolutely fine. I will make sure that all your doubts are addressed in the best way possible, people. Right, people? So I will end my session over here. Thank you so much for watching, people. I will see you in the next one.